Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to TriVersity Talk. I am Stephen Bloomer-T.
And I am Wendy Stewart Kaplan. Yes, I only have Wendy Stewart up tonight. Oh, but you know, I can be anything. How are you tonight, Stephen?
I am good. This is a very interesting TriVersity Talk so far. I feel like a bride that's been jilted at the altar.
We're waiting for our guest. We don't know where our guest is, but forget about guests. Stephen and I have a lot to tell you.
Absolutely. Well, now Richard got on my case yesterday because I've been in South Carolina for a week, and he said, I hate it when you come home and then you sound all Southern. And so...
Oh my God, wait, okay, I have to stop you right there. What does he hate about you sound? I love Southern. Why does he hate about you sounding all Southern?
Well, he's awful. I mean, who wouldn't love this? No, I mean, well, a friend of mine from college who was at the wedding I went to, or the wedding reception.
That was the reason you went down there, yeah.
Said, oh, I thought you would sound like a New Yorker when you came back. And he said, you certainly don't sound like a New Yorker. And I said, well, 30 seconds of being back South, it comes back with a vengeance.
But even up here, Stephen, you've been up here for how many years? Up north?
I mean, the general area, like New York City, I've been here 15 years.
Right. And you know what? You're still very Southern. You sound Southern. And that's a good thing. That's what makes the world go around. Diversity.
Absolutely. You know, once I had a law school professor, no, he wasn't my professor. He was like a counselor for some students at an organization I was working for. And he said to me that saying ma'am and sir caused people to disrespect me. And I guess I was too Southern, and I was like, well, I'm never abandoning my sense of manners. So if it does, then it does.
Well, I got to tell you something about ma'am, okay? Because, you know, I grew up in the North. I'm from the Bronx, right? But do you know when somebody calls me ma'am and they're younger than me, I really get offended. It's like, it makes you like feel like you're older. All right, ma'am, you know, and it's like, oh my God, he called me ma'am. And I will turn around and say to the other person, do you call everybody ma'am? Now I need to know if it's everybody or just me. And it becomes a whole ma'am thing. So I've never, ever been so happy about ma'am, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I've had people say, oh, no, ma'am, to me many a time.
Okay. And you're not offended. So there you go. So we've got a lot coming up. I mean, we're rolling into Pride Month, which is really exciting. Yay.
Rolling into Pride Month, we have a really cool partnership with Sussex County Pride.
Love it.
If y'all don't know much about Sussex County Pride, you can give me 1 second, folks. I will type it out. You can go to sussexcountypride.com to learn more. Just go to sussexcountypride.com. On June 12th, they're doing their yearly Pride Rally at the Newton Green, and TriVersity is going to be there. We're going to be tabling. They're going to have speakers, entertainers. They're going to be registering people to vote. It's going to be fantastic.
That is great. Where can people find out now who the performance artists are and who the speakers are for this event? Is there a website they can go to, or?
SussexCountyPride.com is their website. I'm not sure what's all there, but you could also search for Sussex County Pride on Instagram. And in the post, Zoe Heath, who has been one of our guests, and she heads Sussex County Pride, she's been putting who the performers on Instagram, giving them their own profile, which is really cool. And a couple of them have been former guests on this show.
Oh, like who? Like who? I want names.
Well, they're both delicious, but one is more in a vegetable-y sort of way, and one's more in a desserty sort of way.
So that must be bell pepper and cookie dough.
Check. And I heard through the grapevine that they might be doing some sort of combo performance, which I would absolutely love.
Like a duet.
Yes, they become very close friends over this time, and so they may be performing together, which I'd absolutely love. That'd be so cool.
Well, you know what we say, drag queens of a feather perform together.
Oh, well,
that was so totally awful. Let's move on from there.
Well, let's move on because we fast forward. So we're going to go do our thing at the Newton Green from 12 to 2 on June 12th. But then after, we hope you will join us, take your little disco nap, have dinner, and then come to our little after party, Dancing Under the Stars at Best Western Inn at Hunt's Landing. We're doing a tea dance from 7 to 10 p.m.
And we have a very, very cool DJ, Patrick Costello.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Nikki Starr, of course. The fabulous Nikki Starr recommended Patrick for this. So I'm excited to see what he's going to play.
I'm excited as well. And we're even going to have a special performance from our own Belle Pepper, where Belle Pepper's just going to be carted all over creation.
My God. But you know what? She has that fabulous stay in place hair. It just doesn't go anywhere, So Belle will look as fresh as she looks at 12 o'clock. She'll be fresh as a daisy for our dance at 7 o'clock at night. I know it,
I have no doubt. She is an amazing performer. And so she will be giving us a special guest performance. And we are thrilled to have her. And we hope to have you too. If you want to RSVP, go to info@TriVersityCenter.org. And I can, while I'm...
Yeah, why not?
TriVersity Center.
Now, what's the situation with the mask, Stephen, if you've had your vaccines and you don't need to wear a mask?
That is our policy. If
cool.
you show us proof of vaccination, you do not need to wear a mask because that's currently what the CDC's guidelines are. And and that's what we've worked for, right? It's to not have to wear masks to get to live our lives normally. And if you're vaccinated, then we can do that. But if you have not been vaccinated, if you can't show proof of vaccination, you're still welcome to come to our events. We just ask that you wear a mask, except when you're seated,
when you're sitting,
eating, and drinking,
and drinking. Then you're cool. Well, that sounds fantastic. I have a little bit of news of my own.
What's that?
Well, this Sunday night, I'm in a fabulous show with the Imperial Court called Barnyard Duets.
Okay.
And I am going to be performing with Tim Moss, who everybody knows who's been on this show. And we're doing a duet based on Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert. And it's called Something Bad. And Tim and I get really bad. And we filmed it at Pangea. So please tune in, and you can go to the Imperial Court site on YouTube. It's ICNY YouTube channel. And that'll be 7 o'clock on Sunday night. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on Sunday night. I better get my time straight. It's 8 o'clock night.
Let me just type that in, ICNY, and then I'll...
Oh my God. And it's also a fundraiser for PFLAG. Everything that the Imperial Court does raises money for other organizations. They really are quite terrific. And they do it through performing, and we just love it. So yeah, please come and make fun of me.
I'm sitting here just baffled that you and Tim Moss are going to summon your country girls.
We are. Oh, do not judge me. Don't judge me from the part of the country y'all are from. And you don't call me ma'am either when you see this.
No, ma'am.
I don't want to hear one ma'am out of you. So should we talk about tonight's guest who's not here yet?
Well, sure. Let me see if I've gotten an email from one of them. I do not see that I've gotten a response. So, Wendy, you are normally our introducer of guests.
I'm going to just pretend like they're here because I'm going to give a little backstory. So the group that we were having tonight is a duet. They're called the FMs, and they are a bastion of queer music, and they address the unrealistic expectations put on anyone aspiring to femininity and the absurdity needed to define someone by their gender. And that, Stephen, is that is very forward thinking and something we've all been discussing right now, because things have opened up where we're putting these gender conversations on the table.
Absolutely. And Matt and Frankie would be the perfect guests to talk about this.
They would be.
Oh my gosh. We have a guest, Wendy.
Yes, oh my God, we have a guest. I'm so excited. I can't.
So now we'd like to welcome Frankie Rex to the show.
Oh my gosh.
Hi,
Hi, Frankie.
Hi, how are you?
We are fabulous. We're so happy to see you. Matt is MIA.
Really?
I'm worried. I'm worried, Frankie. I'm thinking like the mothership might have come down because you don't know anymore.
Yeah, that's strange. They were supposed to be on, I think, like a half hour ago or something,
They
right?
were coming on at 6:45, and we had a great little rehearsal this morning. And you were coming on, I think, 7:15, and here we all are together. I am so happy to see you, and thank you for being here, Frankie.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah. So Matt had told us that you're in South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm visiting family right now. I'm in Bluffington, something
I
like
know.
that.
Oh my gosh. One of my best friends in college is from Bluffton.
Oh, awesome. That's
I'm
cool.
from South Carolina originally. I just got back myself. So I was wondering
wow.
where you were. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the weather's great down here. You know, it's alligator country.
It is very beautiful though down there, and it's how ironic that both of you are connected to that part of the country. Before you jumped on, we were talking about pronouns and things and differences from people that are down south and up north. And Stephen, one of the things Stephen does is he'll call a female person ma'am. I said, don't you ever call me ma'am. Here's the thing. I'm a northerner, you know, and ma'am for me was always like, you know, it's like you're 100 years old or something when they call you ma'am. So I don't like ma'am. You don't call
it all depends on, you know, what you prefer. And like some people, that's the way they were raised, and that's just them being courteous, you know?
That's said, yeah.
So, you know, I guess like as long as like if somebody were to be like, oh, ma'am, and then if you politely correct them and just tell them, hey, moving forward, if you could just not do that, you know, then you guys could set it straight from there. Yeah, it's a culture thing, you know. It takes time for people there to understand, you know.
It's funny because you also said you guys, which is something I say. I'm from the Bronx, okay. Everything is you guys, and it's in gender. It went across the boards, right? But doing this show, it's been really interesting because we talk about pronouns a lot on this show, and I used you guys, and then I saw the look on someone's face, and I'm like, you have to, when I use you guys, it's the same as they, or it's the same as, I came up with one, Frankie, use. When you come to the Bronx, like your parents would call use. That was like male, female. It was the pack of kids, use all coming up, use coming in for dinner.
Well, same thing. I use guys as well when like I speak on video, and same thing, similar happened to me recently. They're like, no, don't say that. Don't use that. Say like maybe folks or use something better. And just like, okay, you know, it's just a matter of vocabulary. And I'm from Queens, so I totally get it.
Oh yeah, you're from Queens, so yeah, you get it. But folks, it's like, okay, you're from Queens. Even say folks. Anyone from the Bronx or Queens is not going to say folks. That is
y'all is probably good. Y'all is inclusive.
I love y'all.
I use y'all too. I use you too.
Folks is new for me. I didn't.
Oh.
I mean, folks is something I developed since being at TriVersity because I realized that it's a safe term to use instead of saying guys or saying people, which sounds so harsh. Hey, folks. But how did we get on this tangent?
Tangents. That's what it's all about. But I introduced you before you came on, and here was my introduction, Frankie. You have to tell me if this was good, okay? We'd like to welcome the FMs, the bastion of queer music. They address unrealistic expectations put on anyone aspiring to femininity and the absurdity needing to define someone by gender. Good?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
That's
good.
awesome.
I hit the nail on the head. I also took it from your bios. So let's just start. Let's start in the beginning. How did you and Matt end up connecting to create this amazing duo that you have?
Well, Maddie and myself, we've known each other since high school. So we've been playing music throughout the years. Around about like 4 years ago or so, Maddie reached out to me like through Facebook, like, hey, I'm working on some new stuff. I'd really love you to work on it with me. So I checked it out and we just started jamming from there. And that's how the FMs pretty much started this whole new thing, because at this point in our lives, we both realized we're both, non-binary, gender fluid people, and we wanted to make music that really spoke to us and spoke to that type of audience. So that's also
huge
kind of where
audience.
the FMs come from.
Y'all were so cutting edge because you started doing this from high school, and that wasn't so long ago. And the fact that you were onto this really speaks volumes. Definitely visionaries. Now, the name the FMs stands for.
Well, there's multiple meanings to it. It's basically open to interpretation. There's a play on words like feminine, masculine, FM radio. It's just like, it's different. It's whatever it means to you. Sometimes we joke it means like, fuck me sillies. It could be like anything. I don't know if we're allowed to curse or not.
Yeah, you can curse.
First on the show. It's fine.
Yeah. And
we're
it's also like,
you're allowed to curse.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I was like,
no, it's all good.
Yeah. So really just whatever it means to you.
And of course your music addresses that. Now we have your fabulous clip from song X. We want to play that. And then I would certainly, I've listened to it 7 times today. Totally want to talk about the lyrics and everything. So you're cool. We'll put the clip on now.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds great.
Okay,
fabulous.
Let's do it. Let's see how seamless I make this.
Seamless. Wow.
I have to say, I absolutely love the American Gothic
I love it.
at the end. That is
Freaking
terrific.
brilliant. I mean, the visuals in the video itself are brilliant, but the American Gothic, so incredible, really.
Yeah, that was great. Matt Maharan was actually one who came up with that concept. We were just thinking about different poses or ideas that came to play just to get some still shots. And he was like, "Oh, like maybe we should do American Gothic." I was like, "Yeah, that's dope," because Maddie looks great with like the pie and the dress and everything. And it was a really great idea.
The visual is so powerful. And I have a surprise for y'all. Maddie's about to come on. I just got a ding.
Hey.
So the visuals in this, now somebody that had worked with, Maddie was telling us earlier, worked with you too, came up with the concept and the visuals. Yeah, can you tell us the backstory of that part of it before we get into lyrics?
Well, basically we were just throwing around different ideas of like what it would represent, like the song, like through just like feminine and male aspects, just showing like, especially like, all right, so there's the scene with like the kids that are just putting on different clothes, just showing like nobody needs to conform to one type of style or way. And then the rest is just basically like performance aspects of just us singing the song, you know, in front of like, we shot it in front of a green screen, which was pretty awesome. Never done that before.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was basically a pretty like straightforward concept video.
I got right, the interchanging of the superficiality of what garments are, right? They can be anything to anybody. They don't have a gender. And that's the message that I got. The opening scene where one of you is serving breakfast to the other, and then they're almost like yelling. What was like, tell me what was behind that?
I don't know. I guess like we were trying to play off of that whole American Gothic, you know, 50s housewife, you know, I'm like the husband who's like waiting for their food to be like served to them, like that type of like stereotypical role play there. But the fact that, you know, physically the roles are reversed here, you know, in that part of the video. So
right. Wow. So in the lyrics are great. So the chorus, I'll be your girl, I'll be your boy, I'll be your boy, I'll be your girl. They're so simple, but yet they really address a struggle that a lot of people are having with roles nowadays. How did you come up with that for this song?
Well, when I was writing the song, I was just thinking about my own personal struggles with my gender identity, with my own sexual identity, and the fact that we feel like we need to, you know, be pigeonholed into one certain type of way. Like either you're a girl, you need to be feminine, or you're a boy, you need to be masculine, and there's like no real in between. And nowadays we are seeing that gray area where it doesn't always have to be that way. So when I wrote that part, like I'll be your boy, I'll be your girl, is just saying like I am fluid enough where I can be that person and be secure with myself, you know. And I feel like there's a lot of people nowadays that are open to being themselves and expressing that, you know, like it shouldn't, just because you're a guy doesn't mean you can't per se wear makeup, and that doesn't make you queer, you know. You could still be like a heterosexual male and be okay with wearing makeup or wearing things that are typically like feminine, you know, or, you know, so that's just basically like what it means to me.
Right. It's interesting though, because if we were back like 12 years ago, things were a lot more, I feel, and
So
from
when
experience doing this show, things were a lot more polarized.
Yeah.
Now things are that fluid. And honestly, in your age group, fluidity is what I'm finding for the most part. Now, true, I live in New York City, you know, but even in Pennsylvania, where our LGBTQ is located, our LGBTQ plus, we're seeing it there too. And I love it. Okay. I love the acceptance of it.
So before we go on, and Frankie, you address what Wendy just said, why don't we bring on Maddie because
Oh, yeah.
Maddie's here and ready to come on. So let's welcome to the show, Maddie Namer.
Woo!
Hey.
Welcome.
You had a little worried there, Maddie. I told Frankie that I thought the mothership might have come down and gotten you.
Why is that?
Because, there's UFOs and things out there and you just disappeared.
Well, I'm in the country now, so, I guess.
Where I didn't even realize that. Wait, but I think I read, you're in Ithaca now?
Yeah.
Oh, how fabulous. Were you like over New York?
I was out in the woods today.
Were you in the woods? What?
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah, it's really nice and relaxing. I was out just walking in the woods today, doing a little bit of that.
Well, we're happy to have you on tonight. So we played your new song X, and we were talking with Frankie about the visuals behind it, gender fluidity, and I just started to talk about some of the lyrics. I wanted to ask both of you, my identity isn't what it seems until you grasp that part of me. Was that written from an experience that you had with somebody, or is it an observation? I'd love to know what was behind it.
Well, it's basically a little bit of both. It's an observation. It's also, me coming to terms with that not everybody will be accepting of who I am and my own identity, but at least I have people around me who will be. So that's what that lyric came.
Right. Do you think it's harder with relationships? How do you think it affects relationships?
Well, with relationships, I think, ultimately, first of all, you're connected to people who you sorry, I'm getting a little So with relationships, I would say you're attracted to people that you would already have a connection with, and you shouldn't really have to hide certain parts of yourself. Obviously, being honest about who you are and how you identify, and just being upfront, from the get. If that's going to be an issue, then obviously that's not something you should pursue, or have somebody in your life. I think a lot of people feel that we have to make these big compromises just so we don't have to be alone, and that's not always a very healthy way of living.
I think that's unbelievably perceptive on your part, and I think you've defined many relationships over many generations. Seriously, compensation, and I think I feel we're in a new time now. That's why I'm so turned on by your music, because I think you address that. How do you feel your music is effective politically now?
Yeah, I think that it's just interesting. I think that the term political, nowadays is thought to mean all right, are you kind of on one side of this election or another? And I think that definitely to a certain extent, I think that we feel that just by spreading the message of we are who we are, and we're not ashamed of it, and we're gender fluid people, we are sex positive people. I also identify as polyamorous. That we're just kind of paving the way for that to be okay. And that in a sense that is kind of a political message, maybe you could call it, in and of itself.
It would fall into, when people are talking about that, it probably would, if I can loosely use the term political. I didn't mean Democratic or Republican. I meant
and I appreciate, and it's not that we're not political, but I guess that we're also not necessarily being super specific about things in our lyrics, or necessarily I guess we don't necessarily feel that we have to be proselytizing or like preaching anything. It almost feels like it's just kind of enough, right? That like that maybe the most effective message that we can really give to people is just like, hey, this is like who we are. And that sometimes just feels like the most powerful message that we can like spread.
Well, it's
and
like
I can like get the point across in the most effective way.
Absolutely. And you can feel that in song acts. I mean, you can just feel like the identity and the passion that comes from you two. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
And yeah, and you definitely get that grasp, and it does help you identify with the topics better as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious, when you were getting started, I know you started in high school, but when you started really getting out there and performing, and I want to talk about, you performed on a historical barge, yeah? A barge or a boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about like your early days of performing. How are you received?
With the FMs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I remember the very first show we did was on that old ferry boat.
It was on an old ferry boat in Brooklyn, yeah?
In Brooklyn,
okay.
Yeah. And it was an awesome, fun show. We did a lot of shows on that boat. It was like an old ferry boat in Brooklyn. It was this like, like giant. I mean, when we say old ferry boat, I mean it like could hold up to like 1,000 people on it.
Get out! Without falling through and drowning.
We had like we actually had our studio on it, and we recorded our first album on that ferry boat as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, our first show was done on it. We had like 40 people there, and like I don't think any of us kind of like knew what to expect. We didn't like. I don't think any of the audience knew what to expect. I remember that like I thought it'd be really funny if I just like brought like a bunch of weed to the concert and got like everyone super high, because I was like, oh, they're gonna like it better if they all get really.
Oh my God, that's my theory exactly. That is just really smart. That's smart marketing.
Good marketing. Yeah.
I don't know.
So we got everyone really stoned, and they were like, wow, like why are there all these like joints getting passed around all this time? And then and then we played our show and people loved it, I thought, and I think even as a band, like we didn't really know like what to expect. We're like, oh, like how is this gonna be? Is this gonna be any good? And I think we like felt like an energy from that moment forward in our live shows that has continued up until we did our last one, which was before COVID. We haven't done any shows since COVID really became a thing, and we're hoping to start doing that again soon. But yeah.
Blend brilliantly. I mean, and like the harmonies, it's like chill, so it definitely worked. That's for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's so fabulous that the two of you, like the universe brought you together, because I agree with Stephen. It's the balance of the song, the words, and the sensibilities. There's many things that aren't a perfect balance. The two of you are a perfect balance. And I told Maddie earlier, I love Silent City, your earlier one. I just love that song. To me, really defines what the whole pandemic was, Yeah.
Thank you. And the funny thing about that one was we wrote it like a year before the pandemic started.
That's what you had said. I know. But, it was
a prophecy. Prophecy. It's all our fault. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we caused it.
We caused it.
I know. You caused the pandemic. So you started on this old boat and you were doing live performances. What were the steps that led to a record label?
So we released Silent City with Trax Records. And then we've kind of worked with like a bunch of different record labels at this point. We didn't end up working with Trax Records for the Song X Bad Girl release. And I don't know, like it's the record label things, like I don't know, the state of how music is today and record labels and all that. It's sort of like the honest answer is I'm not like necessarily sure, you know, where we're necessarily like heading with in terms of like record labels.
Right.
It sort of seems like less and less, you know, obviously the traditional sort of thing with the band, right, was like you got on a label, that was it, you were like made, that was like the thing that everyone wanted to be, was like you're on a label with
But
the
that
band.
now is
like,
so
now it's sort of like, you
yeah.
know, it's not really quite exactly like that honestly anymore.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of different labels out there. What they really do for you is like kind of like a lot of questionably different sort of things. So I don't know. It's honestly just not even like something we're really thinking about as much anymore, as like what label we're releasing things on anymore. You know, most people are listening to music now on like streaming platforms.
Yep.
And what label you're putting things on is like not really important for that. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure like how else to answer that. But it was cool to release Silent City with Tracks. They were like a really wonderful group of people to work with for that release. Yeah, maybe we'll end up working with them again for some other stuff. We just kind of went and released our latest single on our own. You know, it just seemed like the right thing to do for this release. And I expect maybe, you know, I think we're probably going to release our next single on our own, and then maybe for our album we might work with like another label again.
But then it's definitely viable, right? For people that don't know anything about the music industry, it is now viable to be releasing those singles on your own.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it really depends on what kind of you know, promotion and publicity and stuff that they're really doing for you. I mean, we're working right now with a management company who, you know, is like an incredible management company. You know, they are managing like Ani DeFranco and all these other incredible artists. And so like really they're the ones right now that are really like doing all the kind of work for us that a label might
it's
do.
It's the leg work. We call it the leg work. And you really hit on something that you just can't have a fabulous band anymore. You really need to get stuff out there. It's really good to have a machine behind you that can get your stuff out there, because from so many musicians that I've interviewed, it's so hard now because there's so many platforms to release things on. And it's not about being signed to a label. That is so old school. It was almost easier, right? Back then. I don't know, like who you like from like 20 years ago, right? Or 25 years ago, or who influenced you. But it was so much easier then to get your music out there. Now it's challenging. It really is. Who did influence you?
We have a lot of influences, obviously. and definitely a lot from that generation too. You want to go first, Frankie?
I was gonna,
go for
it. Well, for myself, you know, both of us, we both really like Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Perfect Circle, Deftones, Elliott Smith, like St. Vincent. Yeah, Elliott Smith, awesome.
Yeah, St. Vincent, awesome.
Yeah, just a couple there. Yeah.
Are there any
Joy Division's a big one, I'd say, for both of us too. We actually covered a Joy Division song in our high school band. We covered She's Lost Control. So
yeah, that was a lot.
And been a part of our musical journey for a while. Yeah, Trent Mahler is like a more recent like sort of addition to that influences. There's a band called Vast that's sort of like lesser known band that we kind of both really love. And yeah, I've really kind of been digging a lot of the like production work by this person John Congleton recently. He's like done like records for Sharon Van Etten and Angel Olsen and a bunch of other like and also a lot of St. Vincent stuff too. So so we've got a ton of influences, I'd say, and kind of hard to peg us, no pun intended.
I'm curious, like when you were both growing up, did your parents listen to certain kinds of music that might have influenced you later on? Everybody that you named is to me recent. I know those names from recent. Were there any like old school that your families might have exposed you to that have influenced you?
Well, I was definitely exposed to a lot of like 50s and doo-wop, like Motown.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely growing up, like that's what we would have on in the car, just listen to that type of music. Righteous Brothers,
Yeah.
Temptations, stuff like that.
My mom's favorite band was Led Zeppelin, and I still think Led Zeppelin is amazing. And I would still happily just listen to a Led Zeppelin album in my free time. I think when you listen to them, you're just like, wow, this band is just so good. You're like, how do the four of them play like that together? I don't even know. And especially like looking back on it, like from a modern music perspective, you're like, with everything to like click tracks and stuff, you're like, man, like how did they do that? It's so great.
You had to that they did about how they so the cat's out of the bag. Where was I going with this? I was fishing.
I listen to a lot of old music actually.
I love Led Zeppelin
forever about old music.
Right. But
Pink Floyd is a big one for me too.
They were like amazing, and their music. If you hear the story behind how they wrote "Stairway to Heaven," which I'm sure you both tell me you both love that song. It's like incredible.
It's a great song. It's a classic.
It's a classic, but when you hear how they added in the layers, there's like an interview that I've watched. I can't tell you how many times because it totally fascinates me. That song, you're right. It's a classic. It is an incredible song. And to me, so much of what comes out now.
Somebody was just telling me the other day, he just like came up with that solo, just kind of like on the spot.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, he didn't like really write it or think about it beforehand. They were just like, all right, Jimmy, it's time to record the guitar solo. And he's like, all right, okay, I'll get some fun. And just, and it's just like, that was that,
Right. Totally.
Okay, rock history. There you go. Stairway to Heaven solo.
There you
thought of it right then and there, like how does it, how do you just come up with something like that on the spot, and it's just there, for in the annals of rock history now,
well, as it should be, right? Because we need to have that if we're going to move forward. I always throw it back to a lot of musicians like that, Scott Page from Pink Floyd. Love Pink Floyd and all of that. And I was curious if you had listened to any of that kind of music and how it affected what you're creating.
I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I know like every album of theirs, like every song.
My mother had this completely arbitrary hatred of Pink Floyd, and I'll never understand why. But anytime a Pink Floyd song came on the classic rock station we listened to, it was this long tirade. Especially, we don't need no education.
I love that.
That was one that she railed against particularly. These are the memories of my childhood.
I mean, I started listening to, Pink Floyd albums while I was like taking LSD when I was like 14 years old. So I have a long history like to that stuff,
LSD and Pink Floyd. Good.
I think I actually watched the movie The Wall, the first time I ever took acid when I was 14. So I Pink Floyd and I also do really love like old soul music as well.
Yeah,
I don't know that I don't know if it really pops up a lot in the FM's like sound, but I do really love like old soul music, like the Delphonics and stuff like that. I just really love that, or like Isaac Hayes, and stuff like that.
Totally love Isaac Hayes. I'm loving this conversation because I'm getting back to, roots I grew up with. And when I have people that have your kind of background and can look at that and say how it influenced them, it's everything. Now, I have a question. What is your involvement with House of Yes?
So it's kind of been like part of my community, I think, just in Bushwick for like a long time. I have been really good friends with the founders, probably going back to like 2007 or so.
Yeah.
So we were kind of all these like 21-year-olds in Brooklyn. Like we'd all just kind of showed up there, and they had like, there's been 3 House of Yeses now at this point. The first one burned down in 2008.
Right.
So like I've kind of been a part of all 3 now. And the latest one, you know, I just like, I help them with like all kinds of various things. I've thrown events there, I've performed there, and currently have a bathroom that's dedicated to me there, which I'm very proud of. It's one of my life's greatest achievements is that I have a bathroom dedicated to me at the House of Yes. It's behind, my little plaque is behind the scuba tank, if you're curious. If I
want to go check out the authenticity of that, I have to go over it there. Okay.
It's one of the bathrooms off the main stage, and it's behind the scuba tank and the little bathroom there. So
now I have to ask, I mean, is it a unisex bathroom? Is it a men's or is it a women's? I mean, how does that work with the play?
All of the bathrooms there are unisex. So
that's
they don't have gendered bathrooms at House of Yes.
They're all gender neutral.
It's a great like very LGBT you know, friendly club. And I think that like what's so amazing about it is that it's a very like simple concept, but you know, kind of a very groundbreaking concept in a way, which is just that like, you know, it's not a very like male centered, patriarchal, materialistic place. You know, it's not about like, you know, ladies' night. It's not about like, you know, just trying to show off how much money you have. You know, it's owned by women, the club. You know, and they're just like it makes its way into everything, into the culture of the place. You know, it's about having fun. It's not really about this kind of like money, you know, trying to get hot women nightclub atmosphere, which so much of like nightlife was and is about for some reason, you know?
Well, yeah, I will have to say I've been clubbing for 40 years. It's a very, very long time. And a large portion of it has been in gay clubs for exactly the reason that you're talking about. What makes House of Yes different is it's gender free. It's whatever gender, and people are extreme. There's a whole thing about not touching people when you're there, which I really respect and admire. Yeah. And they also
did a really good job with that. Yeah.
I'm so down with that. But also they theme the nights, Stephen, which is really great. It's fun. They do all kinds of really fun themed nights there. When are they reopening, Maddie? Do you know?
I don't actually know that. I don't have the intel of that. Sorry.
Okay. I'll let you pass on that one. So what's up and coming for the both of you?
Well, we are working on right now this like kind of fun like Pride Month fundraiser project involving a Time Warp cover. So that's going to be a fun like thing that we're going to be doing. It's like a collaborative video project thing. It's going to be for this really incredible charity that we work with that is run by a very good friend of mine. The charity is called the Chosen Family Law Center, and they basically provide legal services to people that are kind of like in alternative family structures.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we would like to know more about that.
Yeah, definitely Google them if you're tuning in. It's called Chosen Family Law Center.
Stephen will pull it up right now.
Yep. And they're really great organization. They're pretty new, so they definitely could like get all the exposure and there you go. Awesome. And all the exposure and like fundraising help and stuff that they can get. And yeah, they're run by this really incredible friend of mine, Diana Adams, who is this amazing activist, attorney, and yeah, we're working on that for Pride Month.
Very cool. Where are they out of, Maddie? Where are they located?
They're based in New York.
In the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask what kinds of cases are they handling for these families? Is it family law matters? I mean, is it just anything? What are they handling?
Yeah, they do handle like family law matters. They handle, I think, like things like like things like people that are trans and want to do name changes. You know, oftentimes it's a lot of like legal service work for people that can't really otherwise afford it, and can't otherwise like find those types of legal services in other places. So they're really servicing kind of community that really isn't able to find those legal services anywhere else. They might be helping you know, folks with like child custody issues. Like, for instance, like if somebody is you know, trying to take their kids away because they're trans, or you know, or because they're you know, gay or whatever it is, you know, issues like that. So they work on a lot of those kinds of issues, and they also do a lot of advocacy work as well. So I think that they're also have like campaigns to try to like change certain laws. I think that they you know, for instance, like if you wanted to raise a kid with you know, 3 parents instead of 2, which is something that like my family is really interested in exploring. But it's like there's not really great legal ways to go about that.
Absolutely.
So like a couple of municipalities right now have, I believe, like Cambridge and in and what's the other one called up there in Massachusetts, like those two municipalities have like now made it so that not just 2 people, but like 3 people can actually like form a partnership, and it's like easier maybe to like raise children in that way. So they work on issues like that.
That's awesome.
And it's basically just supporting people that might, you know, be might have alternative family structures, you know, just things that are a little bit outside of the normal male female you know, let's go get married and get our, you know, US marriage license certificate and raise our family sort of thing. You know, as it turns out, the legal system is very complicated, and they're doing a really great job sort of helping folks that you know, don't have the financial resources to make families, and you know, the ways that you know, their lives look like.
I love what you're saying. Stephen's a lawyer, and we've actually featured a couple of organizations like that on our program.
Oh, wow, cool.
They're very helpful. So
yeah, definitely look them up. I mean, I hope I did them justice, but yeah.
I'm going to tell them that you sent us. How's that?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, and if you can shoot me who to get in contact with, you know, we love organizations like that on this show.
Great.
So can I ask who you're collaborating with to do the cover, or is that a secret until it comes out?
Well, we're doing the cover. Well, yeah. No, it's not a secret. We'll make the announcement right here.
TriVersity Talk.
Yeah, right here. The exclusive announcement. Yeah, we're working on it with our oftentimes collaborator, Miss Cherry Delight. We're very excited to say. And so it'll be the FMs and Miss Cherry Delight doing a little time warp cover. And we're working on the video with our other oftentimes collaborator, Miss Dylan Greenberg, and of Theophobia fame. And yeah, and then basically the idea is we're trying to get, and actually if y'all would love to participate in this project, we'd love to have your participation. But basically what we're doing is we're kind of basing it, we took the idea, we're not, you know, it's not really any kind of secret, but we took the idea from Jack Black's Tenacious D's Get Out the Vote time warp video back in October, where they interspersed people every time the you know, in the song when the criminologist goes, it's just a jump to the left, put your hands on your hips,
Right.
kind of stop the song, and they had like a cameo people come in. So our idea was, hey, like, let's just get exposure for, you know, what maybe different types of families might look like, and just get like a real big diversity of people participating in this video. So the prompt was just submit a, you know, video of you and or whatever family means to you or might look like to you. And you can say, you know, just submit a video saying it's just a jump to the left, or put your hands on your hips. And it could even just be a video of just yourself, or, you know, just you and your dog, or you and your grandma, or you and your 6 orgy buddies, or whatever it is. You know, it could be anything, right? So, and basically, and then, yeah, and then at the end of the day, we'll edit all of that into a video, and hopefully it'll, you know, turn into this big, diverse group of people doing this kind of big time warp cover along with us. So you can be a part of our time warp cover if you like. You can be part of the collaboration.
We would totally love that. That would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see anything more than me. Me dancing around doing the time warp, because it is one of my all-time favorite shows and songs.
Amazing. Well, please send us a little video. It would take just like 5 seconds. And by the way, anyone listening in can also join for that as well. And I guess maybe we can like show them where to find the link for that or something too.
Yeah. So we could just email it to you.
Yeah. There's a little link that I can maybe I'll send it to you right now.
That would be helpful. and it's just a jump to the left or a jump to the right. That's the
step to the right. Step to the right. Yeah.
Come on now.
The step to the right is part of the song, so you would have to make it. It's just a jump to.
You put your hands on your hips.
And put your hands on your hips.
It won't stop.
I'm out of control. Thank you. That is really cool. Yeah, we'd love to be a part of that. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Now, Maddie and Frankie, where can people go to learn more about you and your music and all your different social media platforms?
And upcoming dates, if you're going to be performing anywhere. I would certainly come if it's down in the city, you know?
Yeah, we haven't booked anything yet, show-wise, but definitely once we do, we will be making it known. And, you know, we'll definitely be playing in the city at some point, I would hope, during the summer. For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just as far as like where to find more information on the FMs, just the best place is our website, thefmsmusic.com.
There she is.
Like magic.
And I think on every page it has all of your social media platforms, so you can just find little icons. It's really amazing website, you know. Dealing with websites as much as I have been lately, I'm like, oh, this is lovely. Look at this.
Thank you.
It's very easy to navigate. And there's no fat on it. You understand what I'm saying? There's no, you know, it's focused, navigatable. You can listen to it. It really great. How long have you had that website for? I'm curious.
We just kind of modified it. So I guess you would say like pretty recent. Since when we released our single, we just like updated it with like.
It's great.
Yeah, the facelift, basically.
Yeah, we give it a little facelift.
I'm all for that.
Let's say a month or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
Well, Maddie and Frankie, before we go, we always like to give the floor to our guests for one last hurrah, one last plug. If there's anything you'd like to say to anyone, about anything, the floor is yours.
Wow.
That's funny.
What day?
Well, just like to say, appreciate everybody who's taking the time out to check out Song X. All the feedback we've gotten, it's just been really great. So I'm really happy to see that. You know, it really makes my day. I wish I could make a heart when I'm holding my phone to make this video. So you guys can make a heart with me there. Woo.
The heart.
You've been holding your phone the whole time. That's amazing.
This is not working. Whatever I'm
This
trying
is
to
not working.
It's a disaster.
Okay, but we got the feeling.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Frankie. Yeah, it's been really cool, like the release of Song X, and just definitely really appreciative to everybody that's like been making that feel like a really successful release to us. You know, like it's so exciting to you know, have that feel like it's like happening for us, you know, finally. Right. So it's a really exciting time for us, and thank you to everybody, and thanks to both of you for that. We're super excited about that. Definitely check out the video for Song X. I think it's like probably the thing we are most proud of that we've ever done, and yeah, we're just really excited to get out and hopefully play some shows again soon. And yeah, that's all.
Things are opening up, so we'll be looking for you.
Absolutely. Well, Maddie and Frankie, thank you so much for being on tonight. We really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, and tune in next week. I think we're going to bring back hot topics, so got to secure our guests for that, but that should be fun if that's what we end up doing. But
yeah, because we want to talk about what a debacle Pride is this year in New York. It is a mess.
Yeah.
I bet.
That's my hot topic.
It's certainly a hot topic. Well,
thank you both so much.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Thank you for being here.
And we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.